is the Vice President of Player Personnel for the Dallas Cowboys. Will McClay sitting down now at our broadcast position. You can watch us at 105thefan.com, Twitch, and YouTube. And a good afternoon, sir. How the heck are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good. We were just talking about the injury over the weekend, and if you guys are going to bring anybody in, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go through the process. I mean, we've lost a good player that we feel like is the ceiling is there, and he's going to reach that ceiling. So we've got to go try and figure it out. We've got young guys in now, but we're going to try and replenish that because it's a long season going through this preseason. So we're going to try and see what's out there.
How ready is the second rounder Kneeland to step into a bigger role, or others?
We'll find out when the pads come on. I mean, we've been out here for X amount of time, but some of the things that he's shown. When we drafted him, we've seen it out here, and we've probably seen more than we thought he had. So feel good about that moving forward, but we're going to have to, he hadn't been in pads yet.
Yeah, that's one of the things, like offensive and defensive line, you just don't know, right, until they get pads on. And when we talk with other players and coaches, how different training camp was, say, 15, 20 years ago, for you putting this team together for as many years as you've been doing it, how has that evolved with how you're now able to kind of watch camp, but also you have limited reps to be able to see these guys?
That's the big thing. Football is a rep game, and you need reps to accurately describe a player and say what it is, and say what he can and can't do. All this time now, again, it's player safety, all that, but the business of football is still going. So we have to look at, what they do in the walkthroughs from a pickup standpoint, their movement, all that stuff, and then we get to find out the inside part, the football character, coming back from a rough day and, how do you bounce back? We have limited opportunities to do that, but I'm glad we get opportunities to go against a couple other teams. Mm-hmm. That gives you, that's the way you have to do it now because you don't get that opportunity to shoot normally. We were talking about it in the scouting trailer. The good old days, we probably had about 8 to 12 padded practices by now where you would have a good feel for that. It just takes a little bit longer. We've got to be better at what we do, and it's the things that you can see that you rely on until we get in the pads.
I'm glad somebody else is surprised a little bit about Kneeland because coming out of college, you saw a powerful guy. You saw a guy. I wasn't sure how quick or how bendy he really was. And then you watch him out here, and I'm like, oh, wow, I might have missed something here. And when you said that, I'm like, okay, maybe I was on the right path. As a scout, you're always thinking about, I saw something in college, but I'm seeing it now on the NFL level. Man, there's something completely different, in my opinion, about that kid. He does look quick off the ball. He's gaining ground with his step. He's able to capture the corner. You play him on the right side. You play him on the left side. I think he's more. I mean, I know I was critical of the pick myself because I was
meaning to talk to you about that too.
I was worried. I was worried. I was critical of the pick because I'm thinking they got a powerful guy. I didn't know how bendy and edgy he was. I think he's got that though. And again, it's just. But we're going through helmets and T-shirts. Yeah. But I think it translates for this kid because he's showing it right now to me.
I just think one of the big things in that position, or when you have the interior positions, you look for, especially rushers and guys that play on, you look for their reactive athleticism. It may not be the bendy, curvy weight, but how do they do what you ask them to do? And if you can close space on people with power – now, if there's enough flexibility and movement, you can do that. In college football, they don't do as much as we do because they can't. So can the guy pick it up and apply it if it's there? And I think it's in there with him with the physical skill set. And again, when I say more, I didn't know. You see the testing numbers and all that.
Yeah.
But the testing numbers come out and show they're very visible on the field.
Yeah, right.
And it's not just testing.
If we can pivot to the rookie linemen, and thank you for getting Cooper Beebe, by the way. That was one of my favorite picks in the entire draft. But Guyton, and you've had so much success with first-round linemen. And I wonder for you what you think the traits are that have developed into that success. Because to me, like attitude and work ethic, it seems like all these guys have. They come in with the right mindset, but then they're immediately getting to work.
Yeah, I mean, and it's what you're bringing them into. You bring them into the room that, has a Zach Martin in it. You've got Tyler Smith, who is now, grown into that role. So they have these guys that they follow. That's the offensive lineman. We call it a fist. It's 5 of them. It's just fingers, but you put it together, we want that big fist. And so that group works together because of the leadership. And so you bring a young guy in, they got to have the right attitude, they got to have the right mindset, because that room is going to make sure they fit in. That's the unique part about the offensive line. And then, Tyler coming in with his athletic ability and, hey, played on the right side at Oklahoma, was protecting quarterback. Those athletes that can flip either side, I mean, sometimes it's harder for people, but those people that are really athletic can go right side, left side.
Sure.
And one of the coaches, as we were talking about it, one of the questions was, he goes, just think about if you have to go to the bathroom, number 1 or 2, and right hand or left hand.
Right.
If you have to use the other one, that's sometimes. But some people can use both hands.
I was going to ask you, Will.
Talent.
That is talent. The thing with Guyton, to me, it's really, really interesting. And, he started off with the twos. And I know that it was, we were doing 7-on-7 stuff. We weren't doing a lot of team. But then the mock game, all of a sudden he's with the ones. Was there something he had to show you coming in that he could be with the ones to start out with?
It's all a part of earning his opportunity to be there, because we mix those. If you watch it, we're mixing all of the pieces together because what can happen. So he took some reps, first team's reps with the in the mock game, and then Chuma's taking those. So he's going to earn it, and we're also going to give Chuma that opportunity. And as we get into pads and we get into day by day, we'll begin to find more of it.
I kind of felt like that watching him, and in my eyes immediately, when you guys got to that team period yesterday, my eyes went immediately to the left tackle. And now I'm watching him go against Tank, and then I'm watching him go against Micah, and then I'm watching him go against Kneeland. I'm going to say that the film watching that night to you, your eyes was exciting. If I was sitting in that room with you, I would say, holy yes, we might have got us one here. Just from the first time he came off the ball and hit Tank, and Tank kind of turned and like, whoa, young fella. And there was questions about this kid maybe as a run blocker a little bit, and he came off the ball, and I'm like going, all right.
Well, and again, we haven't put on pads.
I know, yeah.
At that position, you can at least see the movement. And when you have him going against 3 different type rushers, and there's the ability to anchor, there's the ability to handle speed, there's the ability to handle movement just in those exposures. So the more times we see that, the more comfortable we'll feel, with it. But he's shown that he can do that. Yeah.
Will McClay hanging out with us in the GBag Nation. Is who's the young wide receiver that has maybe caught your eye to this point?
I don't ever want to put that out there on any guy, because it'll pop up and then the next day they have a bad practice. But I'm excited to see, Flournoy had the little injury. We'll get him back, hopefully, seeing him, because he's shown all the right things. But impressed with, because we don't have our guy out there right now, the way that other people have stepped up. Yesterday you saw a big day from T. Billy Johnson. Those guys getting those opportunities and take advantage of it. Brooks needs to step up and take another step. So we're getting an opportunity to see that.
It's Will McClay here with you on the fan. Is what we're seeing big picture in any way a rebuild or a shifting of gears?
No. I mean, our objective is to win. I mean, we've won 36 games in 3 years. We still have those pieces to do that, and our objective is to get further than that, to get to that level and be further than that. And we have the people to do it. So there's no rebuild. There's no rebuilding in Dallas. We're always trying to win.
Running back room looks different than we're used to with a clear guy. What can you tell us that maybe that's not clear to outside observers?
I think it's a healthy room for how we want to play. You think about the NFL nowadays. It's more pass-oriented, but you still have to be able to run the football. You still have to be able to have that identity. It starts up front, and then it starts with the guys carrying the football. And so with that, we have that demeanor and then that attitude that will help the pass game and all those. So I feel good about that and the way that Mike is going to call the game and use the personnel with the people we have. We have a very talented fullback in Lepke who can do a bunch of different things. How often do you see two-back football and, the different – strategies? So if you have the personnel, as long as you use your personnel the right way, you have an opportunity.
Pete had a nice blitz pickup yesterday for you. I mean, he ran the ball, popped it through, and now all of a sudden, so young guys now get blitz pickup, and you're like, hey, you can play if you could do stuff like that. I wanted to ask you about Trey Lance, because Trey Lance was new to us last year. Can you tell us what a Trey Lance day looked like during the regular season? I mean, were you guys having extra practices with him? You had the practice squad receivers. Was he having practices after practice, or how were you working to get him more reps?
Well, he gets the reps in he did a lot of the scout team stuff, right?
Okay.
And then in learning our offense, the quarterback school. One of the things with Trey is phenomenal athlete coming out of college, was drafted early, didn't play a lot of games,
Right.
and so the athletic talent, you see it there, the work ethic and who he is and how he does things, you got to see all that, and now he's getting that quarterback refinement, and you can see the progression in him. It's, as he goes through it, it's not all the time, but you see him progressing and using those physical traits all the time, but now getting better and better at playing that position. It's through the reps that he's got, and there's nobody. He's in a great room because he's a lot like Dak from his work ethic and leadership, and then you have Coop, who understands everything. He's a sponge. He soaks it in, and nothing's more important to him than getting better at his craft. So it's really cool to see a young guy with all that promise and ability to work on that and try and take advantage of it.
It's Will McClay with us here on The Fan. You've been so good at drafting and developing as a team. Last year, maybe fans were getting spoiled by all these draft classes, and you're getting immediate production from them. The second-year jump from last year's draft class, what are you hoping to see there?
I think we have to have that jump, and that's what you're counting on. When you got good players and you have to play them and pay them, and the salary cap doesn't allow for us to have all of these perfect names that fans might think outside. You have these young guys that are in your program, and it's about developing and understanding how you do things and taking that jump. They've spent the offseason. They've been in here. They've gotten bigger, stronger, faster. We've got 3 players that we had last year that had injuries that we didn't even get an opportunity to see, but they were around the NFL locker room and our play stuff that they hadn't done the year before. So we expect them to grow and get better because now they're getting those reps.
What's the big picture thing or the part of the game that you guys are going to do better this year that will allow you to accomplish those big picture goals?
We're going to have to play better defense. We're going to have to be more efficient on offense. We're going to have to take advantage of the opportunities we have. It's still early, but the guys that we have on this roster, there's going to be 4, 5, 6 guys that are going to have to step up that we didn't think they were going to have to, that are going to have to. And so it's the system we put them in. It's how we train and what they do. Guys are going to have to step up. So it's about the team, and we think we have enough talent, and it's about everyone doing their job and addressing the issues that the perceptions out there, what the issues are. We've got to fix those.
Keep throwing that Carson kid out there at corner. I know. They just keep throwing him out there, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that kid right there, he can play.
He's extremely competitive.
He is very competitive.
The one thing about this young group of guys that we had coming in, and it's unique, is when they came in as rookies. Every year we get a rookie class, and that rookie class comes in and they go through things together.
Yeah.
And there's always a guy here, a guy there that somebody's complaining about or they're not doing whatever. This group, from everybody in the organization, even people outside the organization, you talk about them, and then you watch them and how they work and fit into our deal. It's a unique thing, and hopefully we can reap the benefits of that.
Maybe it's not your focus, but how about the chemistry storyline? Is this a roster with good chemistry?
Yeah, and it starts from, I'll say it starts from the quarterback. Quarterback brings everybody together. Everybody respects him. Everybody follows his lead, and they're following the right guy. And we did a unique thing in the offseason. We did some team stuff or whatever, but it was very interesting to see how the whole team comes together at all of the different little things that we put them in. So that points to a chemistry that is different.
Very cool. Thank you, sir.